guys, I'm Lavender from Lavender Witch UK, and I'm making this short video today to talk to you about sigils. I've mentioned sigils to people before, and I've had a few messages asking me what they actually are. So what are sigils? You've probably seen them without even realizing that you've seen them. Sigils are really similar to hieroglyphs, and they are images that are inscribed or engraved or put on things for a magical purpose. A lot of witches will actually wear sigils. Myself, I do actually have a tattoo on my wrist of a triquetra for protection. I also have a little one here on my finger that's in Ohm script. A lot of other witches wear jewellery with like pentagrams and things on, which are all classed as sigils. You can also use sigils in tools and things that you work with, and I use them a lot for carving into candles or inscribing on pieces of paper that I will then burn and use in my spell work. But I also draw them on candle plates. I hope that doesn't reflect too much on there. And you can draw your sigil on the candle plate. This one is to bring more power to my spell work, and then when you've got the candle plate, you can place your candle on there, and that sigil will actually add its power to what you're doing. So they can be used for all kinds of things, and you can use pictures that are out there already, like your triquetra, the spiral, solar cross, triskelly, the ankh, the pentagram, all sorts of pictures that will actually represent something for you, and they do count as sigils and you can use them in your work. But the best form of sigil magic that will actually be stronger and get you the better results is if you actually draw them yourself. The act of actually drawing a sigil and designing that sigil yourself is magic in itself, and it kind of plants it into your subconscious as well as focuses your intent while you're actually drawing this sigil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of ways that I actually draw sigils, and then actually talk you through them and how you can create your words and your magic into sigils. So, what are sigils? Sigils are just pictures, diagrams, symbols that actually focus your intent or add that extra bit of power to your sigils are also really good if you want to carve them into the side of candles and things. So they can have a lot of uses. You can even draw them on a piece of paper and you can then burn that piece of paper, or you can put it underneath a candle, or you can fold it up and put it in a witch pouch or anything like that. So they have a lot of uses. So how do you draw a sigil? A lot of us will already see sigils and things around, like on my board here I have a pentagram. So they can be as simple as a pentagram, or if you think of love, what comes to mind? A heart. So if you think of a hand fasting, quite often I'll be asked, and I'll use the infinity symbol. There are a lot of symbols that already will bring to your mind a certain picture, a certain intent. So you can use a lot of pictures. Myself, I use Ohm script a lot, and I will write in the Ohm script. So, it will be lines of the Ohm, and I will do it much as this sigil that I have on my finger, which is Gra, which is love, which myself and my husband got for our anniversary. So sigils have a lot of uses and they can be designed in a lot of different ways. But if you want to design your own sigil, because you make up, your own spell work, just to add that extra punch to your working, how do you do that? Well, there are a few ways, and I'm going to show you now the two ways that I use. So first of all, think of what you want to say. So what it is that your intent for your work is going to be. So for instance, like with my mirror plate, I did my spells will have power. So you would write my spells will have power. You do not put my spells might have power, or will my spells have power, or anything that's kind of could be misinterpreted. You always be direct and very specific. So don't say I wish, or I desire, or I need. Say this is what's going to happen, this is the final outcome, and this is what's, this is the end result. So always have more confidence. So if you wanted to say, I wish I was stronger at work, you don't put I wish I was stronger at work, you would put I am stronger at work. So you have to be more direct about what you put in. So just once you've got your sentence and you've decided that's what your intent for your work is, you then look at this sentence, and what we do first is we get rid of all the vowels. So we take away the E, the I, the A, the E, that O and that E. So we're left with just the consonants. And then what we do is we look at it, and anything that we have more of one of, we also get rid of that too. So M, we don't have another M. We don't have another Y. We do have two S's, so we get rid of one of those. We have two P's, so we get rid of one of those. And we have four L's, so we get rid of three of those. Then we go along and we have a W, which we have another one of, so we'll get rid of one of those. An H, a V, and an R. So what we're left with is MY, S, L, W, H, P, and R. So that's what you're left with. So to turn that sentence into this, and now we turn it into a sigil. You can be as basic as take those letters and just kind of play with them, turn them upside down, maybe add one on and join it, turn the R on there, maybe add the S on there. And you can actually be just really obvious with it and just add those letters together like that. It is entirely up to you. If you're not very arty, then you can leave it like that. If you want to play with it a little bit more, which is what I do, I like adding my personal touch rather than keeping it where you can see it is actual letters. I would take my letters and then I would kind of play with them and just get the feeling for them, and just, so here I kind of like to go with more swirly letters, so I'd start with the S because that kind of gives you a nice shape, and then I would add on, so let's say the H can go across the S like that one, turn the top of the M because that's like top of the S into an M, so we've got an M there, but the other way around is also a W, so I've already got those letters in there now. I think if we sort of do an L, but kind of that way, I can also, if rather than use this as a capital R and use a little r, we can take this line and turn it around that way and turn it into an R. So you can just sort of play with it, and then if you want to add any other little bits in, then do that too. Just add some little bits in, play with it a little bit, add some more curves in if you want. Just keep playing with it and just keep going with it. But once you're finished and that says to you what your main sentence did, then that is actually your sigil. So then you can actually take that and put that on whatever, your mirror plate, or your spells on your piece of paper, on your candles, whatever it is. You can take that and then put it on your work. You also don't need to actually have a sentence. If you can't think of a sentence that you want to do, so if you're going to take the word protect, you'd write down the word on your piece of paper, and then you would remove your vowels again, so take away the vowels, and then you take away any duplicating letters, so the T, and that would leave you with the letters that you're going to work with. So again, you can be as simple as just take those letters and play with them, turn them on their side or back to front, but just use the letters until you're happy with the shape that you've got as your sigil. Also, again, if you want to and you want to be a little bit more artistic with it, you can, again, just play with the letters, make them a little bit more swirly, maybe add in some swirls and squiggly bits, or I like to add the little swirls on the P's just because I like the shape of it. You can also add in letters and shapes that aren't actually there. Just add to your work until that sigil says to you, protect, and it closes in. You can play with it as many times as you want. Just keep working with it until you've got what you're looking for. And then that is your finished sigil that you can then put onto your work. So that's one way of making sigils. There is also another way of making sigils. So we'll just move this piece of paper to one side. And this is a more uniform way and it's easier to plan out. You just have to do a bit of forward planning. So you make yourself a grid, 3 by 3. Then you take your grid and number the squares 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. That gives you 9 numbers. You then write those 9 numbers across the top of the piece of paper. Then take those 9 numbers and under each number you have to put a letter of the alphabet. So you go along the alphabet per number. So follow the alphabet all the way along, then start on the next line and continue the alphabet until you've completed the whole thing. And then you have yourself a table of letters. Okay, so you can draw this out and actually keep it in your grimoire or in your journal or whatever it is that you keep your information in. Then you don't have to keep drawing this out. This is just to show you what it is. I actually have a copy in my own grimoire, so I don't have to keep drawing this out all the time if I want to make a sigil. So then you take the word that you want to do. So say we want to send out healing, yeah? So we take the word healing, and then what you do is you take each letter of that word healing and you look at what number it actually comes under. So H here comes under number 8. So you would have a number 8, and then E is a 5, A is a 1, L is a 3, I is a 9, N is a 5, and G is a 7. So you're left with this little number sequence here. Yeah, this is what we're going to concentrate on. So then what you do is you take yourself another piece of paper and you need to place it over this grid so that you can see the grid through your paper. So you've got your grid through your paper. And then what you need to do with these numbers, this is going to draw your sigil. So your first number is an 8. So what we do is we find the number 8 on this grid, which is here, and then we put a circle on the first one. This is your starting point. Then what we do, the next number is number 5. So on your grid, number 5, you would draw a line from your starting point to number 5, and then you would stop. Then you take your next number, which is a number 1 up here in the grid. So then you're going to take your line up to the number 1 and stop. The next number is 3, which is here. So you take your line to the number 3 again and stop. Then we have a number 9, which is down here, down to there. A 5, which would come into the center, but you do not cross into that line again. You sort of stop just to the side of it for your 5. And then we have the 7, which is over here. So then we take the line across down to the number 7. And then, because that is the end, the way we mark the end of a sigil is just to cross it. So we have a circle at the beginning and a cross at the end. So then that, when you take away your grid, that is your sigil. So there you have your sigil for healing. And you can then use that like you would any of the other sigils and do that on your candles, on your mirror plates, on anything that you like. So those are all different ways of drawing and designing your own sigils. So now that you've actually created your sigil and you have your lovely sigil there to do with your magic, then what do you do with it? Well, you need to charge your sigil. Once you've got it, you need to charge it to actually do the work that you set that intent to do. Now, there are all lots of ways that you can do that. You can meditate with your sigil. You know, you can actually hold it in your hands and just focus what that intent is for. So that works really well if you're going to use it on a piece of jewellery. We pyrograph sigils on things that we might wear. My coven brothers and sisters have all got the coven sigil on wood, and we wear that. So that's actually been charged with the magic to bind our coven. So you can do that, or you can actually carve it into candles, which then will be used, and then that is actually charging it as it burns away. You can also burn it on a piece of paper and let it loose into the universe. You can throw it into running water. What it really means to charge your sigil is to actually use it and put that intent and that power into the sigil. So it's really simple to use. It's a really easy form of magic. So a lot of beginners that are only starting in the world of witchcraft and are just beginner practitioners find that this is an easy form of magic and is really useful for teaching you to learn to focus your intent. And you can draw lots and lots of sigils and start using them in your grimoire and keeping a good record of all these different sigils that you design. But do go and actually try and design your own. It is really easy, especially if you're in a group that somebody might design a sigil for you, and that's fine to use if you want to do that. But you will find that you get a lot better results, a lot stronger results, and you will get that actual connection if you do draw your own. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope you enjoy creating magical sigils. But that's all I've really got to say for today on that subject. If you do want to know anything more, do pop a comment underneath, or you can contact me on Facebook or on Instagram. If you'd like to see more of my videos, hit subscribe. That would be fantastic. Have a magical day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.